One, two, three, check. Paul. Thank you.
Hello. All right, everyone, we're going to get started. If you're a speaker, please take your seats behind the podium. All right. Welcome to the grand opening of the Hub. My name is Ashley Hurst, and I'm the Vice President of Community Life at Mercy Housing, and I have the honor of co-hosting our ceremony today, and we're so happy that everyone is here to celebrate this huge milestone for the community. The new Hub is going to be the heartbeat of the neighborhood, the center for youth and families to come together to learn, grow, and make connections. And it is the home to the new Springer Clubhouse, operated by the Boys and Girls Club, a new early learning center oh yes, you can clap for that. A new early learning center operated by Wu Yi, and new community spaces, and new community spaces operated by Mercy Housing that will be activated by many CBOs in the neighborhood. We're so excited to have you here today, and it's amazing to celebrate with you all. And I hope it doesn't rain on me, as it's not good for my hair. Okay. As I was preparing for this day, I realized that I needed a co-host to help me make this occasion special. And I would like to invite our former president of Mercy Housing, Doug Shoemaker, up to the stage, as he is a co-host for this event. And I'm so happy to share the stage with Doug, as he has been committed to Sunnydale for many years, and he has great vision and leadership, and so I'm happy to co-host with him today.
Thank you.
Doug Shoemaker.
Yeah. I told Ashley not to worry. I was fine, but then I didn't look at my notes. So, um, anyway, it is really wonderful to be here. I don't think my hair is at much risk, but I am really hoping that it's not going to rain. It's wonderful to see so many faces here. I know collectively we put so much effort into helping to breathe life into this building. I want to first and foremost thank the residents who had the vision for this space, and I hope it's what you dreamed it would be. There are many people that we're going to thank along the way, but I just also want to call out a special thanks to Ramey Dare, who was the earliest project manager of this, and who really carried the vision of the hub from start to finish here. So one of the things that Ramey told me when I started at Mercy 13 years ago was that the vision that this community had for a future at Sunnydale included tearing down some of the walls that had bound this community in. And those included, as Rob talked about earlier with some donors, the fences that bordered Hertz playground, but also those invisible borders that I think are better known to the neighbors and residents of this community than those of us that are just staff, the ones that sort of separate Sunnydale from the broader neighborhood. And so I think by building this incredible community center in the gym, together as partners, Wu Yi, Mercy, Related, all of the wonderful donors that are here today, the city, the state, and particularly the residents are sort of saying, I think that we're tearing down these walls, that we're welcoming in a broader community to Sunnydale, hopefully one that is as excited about what Sunnydale has to offer as the rest of us are. It really is an unbelievable opportunity. I also just want to thank the Housing Authority, who doesn't get very many thanks, for their hard work, and Tanya, who's behind me. It is a really hard job to take care of buildings with as little money as the Housing Authority gets to do it. And so they were the very gracious donors of the land under which the building sits. And so we thank the Housing Authority and its chair, Joaquin Torres, as well, for their incredible. All right, then I'm sure I have other things to say, but I'm on the verge of fainting from excitement about the opportunity here. Larry just laughed. He doesn't really believe me, but Larry, I am. I'm as emotional as a nibby. So I want to introduce Greg Castro, who is going to do the land acknowledgement for us. He is the culture director of the Association of the Ramaytush Ohlone. Greg?
Rishatuhi, greetings and good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Greg Castro. I'm Totral Slinen, Rumson, and Ramaytush Ohlone. Heritage is from Indigenous California, and the culture director for the Association of Ramaytush Ohlone, which is the nonprofit organization that is preserving and protecting the Ramaytush culture that here exists in the San Francisco Peninsula. For thousands of years, our ancestors existed here, but more than existed, they lived. They lived a life of community. As most indigenous people of California understand from their origin stories, we come into the world as a gift of this land that has been given to us, and with the understanding and the sacred obligation to take care of that land. And along with that, we understand we have to take care of each other. And so for thousands of years, our communities thrived with that understanding of taking care of each other. We did not know hunger for our people. We did not know homelessness. We were integral parts of the landscape and of each other. These are themes, these are sacred instructions, these are understandings that we think have meaning even today. And in this society, we have a hard time living out those beliefs, but here today, we're celebrating one expression of that belief of taking care of each other, of bringing community together. As I was taught by elders, I'd like to start off with a song. I usually sing a fog song, but I think the weather is a little too tough for that one. it takes a whole set of songs to get rid of rain, and we don't have time for that. So I'm just going to do a good luck song instead. Onako wewe na, eya ke salala, eya ke salala. Onako wewe na, eya ke salala, eya ke salala. Onako wewe na, eya ke salala, eya ke salala. Onako wewe na, eya ke salala, eya ke salala. Onako wewe na, eya ke salala, eya ke salala. Onako wewe na, eya ke salala, eya ke salala. Onako wewe na, eya ke salala, eya ke salala. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I realized I forgot to announce our special guest, Coach Whitty over here in his it is a special Sunnydale Gators outfit that he'll tell you about when he gets up, and related obviously is the other incredible partner out here and has made all the difference in terms of our ability together to get things done on behalf of this community. So. With that, I want to bring up in a second Darlene Goins, who's the president of Wells Fargo Foundation. Mercy, as many of you I think know and related, are affordable housing developers. And we count on Wells Fargo Bank and Wells Fargo Foundation for an enormous amount of what we do. The buildings all around us, this building in particular, which was financed with this really obscure form of federal funding called New Market Tax Credits, which has been really vital to being able to pay for the building behind us, and many other things that we do with Wells Fargo depend on their expertise and their partnership as a banking entity. But we're also incredibly happy here to introduce Darlene Goins, who is the head of Wells Fargo Foundation and Community Impact. Darlene has a long history of work at the bank, including their very important inclusion initiative. She's on the board of a number of nonprofits, and she lives here in the Bay Area. And it's my honor to welcome up Darlene Goins, who's the president of Wells Fargo Foundation.
Good morning. I was really hoping for sun, and I too am worried about the rain and my hair. But it's wonderful to be here today with all of you and celebrate this amazing community center. Thank you, Mayor Breed, Senator Weiner, Supervisor Walton, and Assessor Recorder Torres, and all of the community partners that are here with us to celebrate. As mentioned, I am Darlene Goins. I am the head of philanthropy and community impact at Wells Fargo. I also serve as the president of the Wells Fargo Foundation. And on behalf of all of my Wells Fargo colleagues that are here, I want to thank Mercy Housing California for their tremendous leadership in bringing this invaluable community center to the neighborhood. Wells Fargo's role in the development of Sunnydale spans loan, equity, and grant contributions through our long-term partnership with Mercy Housing and Hope SF. And we'd especially like to thank the City and County of San Francisco for your support in making this project a reality, and all of the capital campaign donors for your generous contributions. This would not have been possible without your support. Through the Wells Fargo Foundation, we aim to strengthen historically marginalized communities by investing in opportunities for economic advancement and generational wealth. And we do that by focusing on housing, small business, financial health, and sustainability. And resident services and supportive housing programs are really foundational to housing stability and creating vibrant, healthy communities. And it takes true public-private partnership to ensure that these services are sustainable for the long term. We need to be intentional about innovation in the housing space. Funding models like the Mercy Housing Sunnydale Endowment Fund have the potential to transform our approach to funding resident services. I'm told the endowment is the first of its kind in California, And I personally think that while universities and art organizations have endowments and rely on that funding, this is really a novel, innovative, and much needed approach in the housing space. The hub is where the community will come together, and the endowment will help solidify the accessibility of services for the long term, not just in the moment of today. And as your partner, I am excited to announce that the Wells Fargo Foundation is donating $1 million to Mercy Housing, California, to seed the endowment. So this funding will support existing and future wraparound services for residents in Sunnydale to promote financial health and well-being for the men, women, and children that call this home. So we are very proud to be a part of today's celebration. I want to thank everyone again who helped make this hub a reality. And with that, I'd like to ask my colleague and Senator Weiner and Doug and Ashley and Connie to come join me. It's a big old check. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You want to scooch over?
Come on in, Tony. All right.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darlene.
Thank you.
Are we holding that? Who's holding it? All right. Yeah, I got it. All right. I've only been gone for 2 weeks, and I've already messed up the agenda for this event twice. So when I said all those wonderful things about Bill, I haven't yet, actually. But it's a chance for me to bring up our partner in this project. I've had the honor of working with Bill and Ann and Tu on this project, but Bill in particular for many years. He's a really extraordinary human being. Not very many people would wear that color of orange on a day like today, but that's Bill. I mean, he just rolls with punches. But honestly, he is a true mensch and a wonderful person and a large part of why we're here today. So this is when I want to bring up Bill Whitty of Related California.
Thank you, Doug. That's the first time I've ever been called a fashion statement. Just a word on this, because it's really relevant to why we're here today. So about 8 years ago, Larry Jones mentioned that Sunnydale's Pop Warner football team, the Gators, had won a regional championship and needed help to get to the Nationals, I think in Florida. I was happy to help and have done it a few times since, but it also pointed out that's nice, but when we started with this, I think now when Jane Graff called me, it was 17 years ago, about working on Sunnydale. The notion was, okay, there's the bricks and mortar side, but what are we going to do to help make this a real community, the capital C? And led by Doug and Mercy and their team and staff and board members and others, it hatched the idea of this 30,000 square foot amazing facility called the Hub. And this is the largest financial commitment Related has ever made to a project. And it's also the best thing I've ever been involved in after 35 years of work. And I want to say a few, when you see it, if you haven't, it'll speak for itself. Wait till the gym is done, the baseball field is done, everything. I mean, it's amazing. And people who didn't know where Visitation Valley was, they're going to know where it is now, that's for sure. But I have to say a couple of things, because Shashi was reminding me of the time we spent trying to raise the money for this. And at key points, we needed some help. Mayor Breed and Supervisor Walton stepped up with huge commitment from the city. Normally that would be a tough ask, but they get it. They completely understood. Senator Weiner stepped up with a discretionary ask from the state. Without those, we wouldn't have been able to, we didn't have enough progress to continue. And then finally, Crankstart Foundation and others from the private sector stepped up for this amazing facility. I also want to thank the people who are actually going to be running the show in here, Monica Walters of UWE and Wu Yi and Rob Conley of the Boys and Girls Club. Amazing job, even before But they hung in there through all of this to make sure that not only would be the product, the first-rate product that you see, but that operationally it would be great. And then the last thing I want to say is simply I want to thank our team, Ann Silverberg and Tu Nguyen and others who continue to work on what you see across the street. We're not done. This is a first step, but we're going to be here a long time with you and the residents. Can't have a better partner than Mercy. I've long said that on the non-bricks and mortar side, there's nobody better in the state of California than Mercy, and they really deserve a lot of the credit here. So thank you to our partners at the city and the state, but most of all the community. And we can continue to help make this the community that you all deserve. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. So as Bill just mentioned, you know, one of the key things along the way on this project, this is really a true public-private initiative. And, you know, Senator Wiener, I just demoted you, Scott, or sent you back in time, whichever you want to think of. Senator Wiener has known about this project for many, many years, has toured many times, and has always said, you know, when the time comes and you need something to make this project move forward, come ask. And we did, and he delivered in ways that, you know, surpassed even our expectations. Scott has been an incredible champion of affordable housing along the way. He's known for many, many things, but I'll just say that for me, he's just a fabulous supporter of what is right and going on in our communities. And I want to bring up my friend, Scott Wiener.
Thank you, Doug, my college classmate. And no worries on the title. Once a supervisor, always a supervisor. So I wear it as a badge of honor, right, Supervisor Walton? Yeah. First of all, when Doug called me and said, "Hey, can we potentially find some state funding for the hub?" Because you know it's always a challenge to close the funding on these projects. To me, it was a no-brainer, and so we were able to obtain a few years ago $5 million in the budget to help complete the funding for this project. And it's a no-brainer, I think, for a couple reasons. First of all, this entire, when I say project, I mean project writ large, everything happening here in Sunnydale is so exciting. This is a part of the city that historically has been so neglected by the powers that be for decades and decades and decades. And when so much has been happening at times in other parts of the city, at times our southern and our southeastern neighborhoods in San Francisco have, I think, legitimately felt left behind, underinvested in, and just not always as much a part of San Francisco's success as they deserve to be. And these neighborhoods, including Sunnydale, this is part of the heart and soul of San Francisco. Amazing communities that deserve more. And so what's happening around here, all of the rebuilding of the public housing, all the new housing that's going in, all the retail, the hub, the pool and the athletic facilities that are going to go in, the new park, and so on and so forth, it is going to be absolutely majestic. It is so inspiring to me that the community has come together, the city, the state, the private sector, to do right by the Sunnydale community, by the Viz Valley community, by the southern communities in our great city. But for the hub specifically, what was so compelling to me is this is about our kids. This is about supporting children and families, young people who struggle in this city. It is not easy to raise a family in this city. It is not easy to be a teenager in this city. And Wu Yi and the Boys and Girls Club do absolutely amazing life-saving work for these young people. And to have what is truly will be a hub of support for our youth and for our families is going to be an absolute game changer. Because housing is great. I love housing, of course. Spent a lot of my life working to get more housing built. But you have to have those supports for families and for kids. And so congratulations and thank you so much to everyone who made this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Weiner, for your partnership. Next, I have the honor of introducing Supervisor Walton, who has been a fierce advocate for Sunnydale and all families across District 10, and we're so excited to have him here celebrating with us today. Supervisor Walton.
Thank you, Ashley. Good morning. Welcome to District 10, and Doug, I do not consider being the supervisor a demotion. But no, it really is amazing to see everyone here this morning. This is really a culmination of a lot of great things happening across District 10. As a former Boys and Girls Club child, just thinking back to the small clubhouse that we had on Kiska, which eventually became the Willie Mays Boys and Girls Club, and now looking at the fact that we have a brand new clubhouse right here in the Sunnydale community for our children, this tells you that promises and commitments are being met. We have really worked here in community not only to make sure that Sunnydale is thriving, to make sure that we have brand new housing for community, to make sure we have a space in place for our children and for our families to go and gather and have recreation, but also bringing the Visitation Valley community together as a whole. And it's taken a lot of work to get everyone to work together. There are some, like Senator Weiner explained, some historical issues around neglect of this area. But this is a happy day. We've brought so many folks together to make this happen, and so I'm just excited to celebrate this hub. A hub is a place where community can come together and spend time, make sure everyone is safe, make sure that activities are happening for our youth and for community as a whole. If you look and you see, not only do we have an amazing Boys and Girls Club at this space, not only do we have an amazing child care facility, but the open space outside that's available to community is something that is also very important. And so I do want to thank everyone who played a role in making this happen. I want to thank our visionaries who did work in community for so long, LaVon King, Dr. Ruth Jackson, Marlene Tran, and folks who continue to bring people together, like the folks at Mission Blue, like the folks who, of course, have been doing this work from day one, the developers who have finally come together and made this happen. And I do want to say, thank you for the donation to the endowment. And I also want to say that let's make sure that that money goes directly to this community and to the folks that need it most so that they can be served with those resources. It's no drop in the bucket, and we want to make sure that we see the results of a generous donation right here in community. And so at the end of the day, I just want to welcome you all to District 10. I want to say that I'm thankful for this hub and thankful for all of the great assets that we have here in our community. We got a lot more work to do, but this is most certainly a day to be celebrated, a brand new hub right here in the Sunnydale neighborhood in the greater Viz Valley. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Supervisor. So as the mayor's walking up, I just want to take a moment to thank the city teams. We want to thank the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development, MOCD, Hope SF, Rec and Park Team, SF, Department of Children, Youth and Their Families, the Public Library. I feel like the Oscars up here. And we want to thank San Francisco Public Utilities Commission for their work, as well as the Department of Buildings and Inspections. This is a mass timber building, so we had to work very closely with them, as well as the SF Planning Commission. We're so excited for all of our partners to support us. We could not have done this without you, so thank you so much for all the city teams. And I will keep talking. Keep going? Okay, so I have the honor of introducing Mayor London Breed. who has been a fierce advocate for Sunnydale and for all families across District 10. And we are excited to have her here as she's been instrumental in making sure that the hub is a success and a reality. And we are so excited to have her here today, Mayor London Breed. Oh, and she's hugging people. Mayor London Breed, thank you so much.
Ooh, we come a long way, right? I am so excited to be here because I think Supervisor Walton mentioned that this is finally a dream being kept, a promise being kept for the community here at Sunnydale that has been through so much. And one of the things I remember when I first became mayor, I did one of my first speeches here about the announcements around my budget. We had known that so much of the resources from the federal government had dried up. The Hope 6 project, which promised to replace all public housing throughout San Francisco, those resources had dried up. And at a time when we needed resource the most, San Francisco created Hope SF as a way to fulfill many of the promises. And I am so happy to be here delivering on so many of those promises because of the need to do so. Part of making sure that there is a one-for-one replacement related to housing also means that there is a need to ensure that there are amenities, that there are services, there's support, there's community room. And to have partners like the Boys and Girls Club and Wu Yi to provide childcare services is tremendous. It is a huge step forward. In addition to that, the gym and all of the other rec and park facilities, this was not something the city said we want to do. This is something that the community said, this is what we want. And today we're delivering on so many of those promises. And I want to thank all of the folks who had a role in making this possible because it wasn't easy, Supervisor. Over the years, we had to scrape together the city money. And then people like Bill Whitty helped to raise private money. And Larry was right there showing up at every place that was necessary. Larry Jones was right there saying, we need this money for Sunnydale to make these projects pencil. So the hub, as you know, will be an incredible place for young people, but also for the community as a whole. And by next year, about 75% of the residents of Sunnydale will finally be in a new place, either here in the community, if that's what they choose, or any place else in San Francisco. This is, again, delivering on a promise. And the gym will be done. The rec and park facility will be completed. I mean, all of these great things in a community that so many years ago felt ignored and neglected. And I just want to give a special shout out to some people who are not with us here today. I'm not sure if Supervisor Walton mentioned Sharon Hewitt, who was major in this work, and Miss Jackson, and so many other of the folks who really fought for opportunities in this neighborhood. We are so grateful for their work and their advocacy, and we are excited about the future of this community. We know that it's one thing to build a building. We know that it's one thing to provide the operational support, but what makes all of this special and makes all of it complete are the people who actually live here, the people who are going to benefit from the great work and make this place home. So thank you all so much for being here, and everyone, Mercy Housing, Wu Yi, the Boys and Girls Club, our contractors, our architects, and last but not least, because I'm looking right at him, thank you, Senator Weiner, for delivering on the $5 million that we needed from the state. Because it does take a village, and the whole community of the village is making it happen. Thank you to so many of you for being here and for making this project yet another successful one right here in the heart of the Sunnydale community.
Thank you so much, Mayor Breed, for your inspiring words and unwavering support for Sunnydale. We're grateful for your leadership and vision that helped us get here today. And we also want to thank the city for giving us and providing us funds to help us operate this building as well. We're very grateful for your support. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Letiju, the CEO of the San Francisco Housing Authority, and a dynamic leader dedicated to transforming public housing in our city. With a career spanning over 2 decades in public service and leadership, Dr. Letiju has worked tirelessly to ensure that housing is more than just a roof over people's heads. It's a foundation for stability, opportunity, and community well-being. So thank you so much for being here, Dr. Letiju. Thank you.
I think the most appropriate word to say today is wow. This is really awesome, and when I stand here today, it really brings great joy, and it really feels tremendously emotional. And I'm just gonna step back a moment because the mayor made a comment, and it was on my mind all this week when we talked about the hub. And I remember when I first came to the Housing Authority, I came to her State of the City address here in Sunnydale. That was the first time I had come. And someone in the audience shouted out, no disrespect to her, "London, don't forget us." And she shouted back and said, "I will not forget you." And she has done exactly that. And she has supported all the work that has happened here on this development. And sitting in my seat as the Housing Authority CEO and watching the buildings coming down and the transformation occurring has been just so fabulous, because as a parent, this is a place where I would say my family can thrive, to be very frank about it. And each and every moment, time that I come on this site and I see these new buildings, and I've seen this building being resurrected, there's so much joy in my heart, there's so much hope in my heart for the community, because it is true that the community deserves it. And when I think about the community, and yes, we're speaking about the larger community, but I'm speaking also about the community that lives here, that has lived here for generations and generations. And when I think about this community, I think about all the possibilities that this new development is bringing and breathing life into the individuals that live here, for our children who live here, for our seniors who are going to be able to age in dignity here on this site. And it brings much joy to me, because I want to remind us all of this. Where in the world, we're always in the newspaper in San Francisco about what we're not doing, what we don't do well. And there's little talk about what we do well, because I'm telling you, if it can happen, it happens here. We have a $1 million endowment that has just been given to us, to this foundation. If it can happen here, because that means that it's not just today that we're resurrecting something, but there is a commitment for generations and generations that the services, that the different activities that this community so desires and believes that it needs will happen because of the work and the commitment from everyone who has continued to be in partnership with Mercy, who's continued to be in partnership with the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development, who is in partnership with our mayor, with our supervisor, with our senator, and all of Wu Yi and the Boys and Girls Club. It takes money and it takes investment to have a continuous involvement and continuous birthing of potential in our community. And when this community thrives, it means that every area of San Francisco will thrive. Because we don't know if the next mayor will come from Sunnydale. We don't know if the next fire chief will come from Sunnydale. We don't know if the next supervisor and on, and senator and president will come from this place. But because of the investment that we're making, we can be assured that there is the possibility for all those things. So I just want to say from the depths of my heart, thank you everyone for all of the work that you have given towards this project and the continued work that you will give. I want to thank my board president, President Torres for all of his support of me at the Housing Authority, all of our commissioners who are here today, and the staff from the Housing Authority. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost a quarter of the way through. Thank you so much, Tanya. It's been a pleasure working with you, I know, over the years, and I think, we want to just also thank some of the unsung heroes at the Housing Authority, Kendra Crawford, Linda Mason, Mamadou, all the other folks that do the hard work and don't always get the recognition they deserve. So thank you to all of you. It's also my pleasure to bring up, there are very many partners here, so we don't have a chance to bring everybody to the podium, but I do want to bring up one of our key partners, Monica Walters, who runs Wu Yi Children's Services.
Good morning to all of you, and welcome to our beautiful Sunnydale Hub, which you've heard from our previous speakers, marks an incredible milestone for the beautiful and resilient community that surrounds it. Wu Yi, along with our amazing partners at Mercy, Related, Boys and Girls Clubs, have spent the last 10 plus years working to reach this day when the dream is finally realized. And this would not have happened without the funding from our San Francisco Department of Early Childhood and the leadership of Director Ingrid Mesquita, the Low-Income Investment Fund through the leadership of Angie Garling and the special guidance of Liz Winograd, the major grant award that came as a result of revenues generated by Baby Prop C. We are here because the voters of San Francisco determined that our youngest residents should not and would not be left behind, but lifted up. So really, San Francisco, this is a testament to you, the mayor's leadership, the voters that put Baby Prop C forward, that allowed us the money to help build this facility. And again, it's just something that was a dream come true, because we knew that we couldn't do this based on just the federal and state funds that we were getting. We needed local funding. And that happened, and as a result of that, we have this fabulous new child care center. I want to acknowledge our Wu Yi team that helped us throughout this journey, but I also want to really call out and recognize the tremendous philanthropist, Mimi Haas, and the Mimi and Peter Haas Fund, along with Karina Moreno, the executive director, who gave us a significant donation to give us the momentum that we needed to reach the finish line. So here's to all of them to really help us raise this funding. Wu Yi Children's Services is really proud to be operating this early Head Start program in a state-of-the-art learning center. It provides a beautiful quality environment for 70 infants, toddlers, and preschoolers, along with comprehensive family engagement and support, a parent advisory committee, a new teacher apprenticeship program that will increase opportunities for growth of our workforce. And we pledge our commitment to remain a strong collaborative partner to our hub community, so that all who come through these doors can benefit from the programs available here. Imagine, if you will, a young parent, grandparent, family member who's living in these units, has children of all ages. They desperately need affordable child care. Now they can walk across the street with anybody from a 3-month-old infant to a preschooler and have a safe, beautiful environment for early learning to start. Then as that child grows, they can walk upstairs to the Boys and Girls Club while their parents gather in the living room over a cup of coffee or to talk to their neighbors. That's what community means, and that's what we're giving to Sunnydale, a generational support system where no one can be left behind, no one is left behind. And we believe at Wu Yi that every child deserves not just the best start in life, but a fair shot. And we also believe that when we stand up for one another, and when we stand up for our children, we stand up for one another. So really today, San Francisco is truly standing up for our kids. And without the support of all those involved, this would not have happened. I can't wait to see the joy and the happiness that comes from having a safe place for your child to grow and thrive, for your teenager and young adult to learn how to be a part of community through advocacy and support and volunteering at the hub, and really having this be not just the living room, but the centerpiece for Sunnydale neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, Wu Yi. I'm delighted to introduce Rob Connolly, the president of the Boys and Girls Club of San Francisco. Yes, you can clap for that. Under Rob's leadership, the Boys and Girls Club have become an essential fabric of our city, providing safe and supportive environments where young people can learn, grow, and reach their full potential. We're excited to have the Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco as a main partner. And before Rob comes up, I just want to share a quick story. The Boys and Girls Clubs have been open for a while now in the new hub. And my favorite moment so far of the hub being open is there was a little boy that came in with his friends and said, "Hey, I told you about this new clubhouse. This is the best in the city." And so I'm so excited to introduce Rob, and I'm excited for all the great things that we're doing for kids in the city. So thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to call an audible. Just going to freak out some people at Mercy and say, I'm going to introduce Kiana. So one of our former members is going to speak today, and it was going to be me and then her, but I don't want her to wait any longer. Kiana is one of my favorite kids all time who ever went through the Boys and Girls Club. She joined probably when she was 6, stayed with us until she was 18, and still stays connected to us even though she's now graduated from college. So Kiana, with that, I'm going to ask you to come up, and then I'll speak after you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kiana Frierson. I grew up in Sunnydale, and I was a member of the Boys and Girls Club up at the Sunnydale Clubhouse from age 7 to 18. I'm proud to say that thanks to the support of the Boys and Girls Club and my family this past May, I graduated from UC Berkeley. Where I majored in African American Studies with a minor in public policy. I'm here today because the Sunnydale Clubhouse has had a huge impact on my life. I spent a lot of the time growing up at the club, and although the clubhouse was much smaller than this new incredible clubhouse behind me, it was a very special place to me and all the youth that walked through those doors. The clubhouse was always somewhere where I felt a sense of belonging and where I knew I was supported by the adults at the club, and I knew that they were invested in my future. The club helped me to realize my potential and to know that going to college was a possibility for me. When we visited other clubhouses across San Francisco and other neighborhoods, I always wondered why these communities had better access to facilities and resources than I had. And starting about 7 years ago, I began to hear that they were going to build a new club, and I was happy that, they were going to build it. And I trusted the people, and even though sometimes we wonder if it would really happen. But true to their word, they built this incredible clubhouse, very beautiful. And even better than that, we're getting a gym next door, and we have childcare downstairs. And combined with forces of Mercy Housing, they're going to run the whole complex. When I look at the new clubhouse and this incredible community hub, I'm excited that the kids in this neighborhood are finally getting the access to the kind of facilities and services that other kids across San Francisco enjoy. Youth in Sunnydale deserve to have access to the same opportunities as other kids across San Francisco. When places like this filled with staff who care and programs that are designed to help young people realize their full potential gives them the confidence to dream. I'm happy that the club and other community partners came together to make this happen, and thank you to the investment that you are making into all the kids and the families in this beautiful community. Thank you.
I should have said that Kiana was also, she was Youth of the Year for the City of San Francisco, and then she was a finalist for the California Youth of the Year, which is just terrific. And then if you walk into the Boys and Girls Club, I do hope that all of you who haven't done so far walk through the facility, see Wu Yi's space and the Boys and Girls Club space and the community living room. It is fabulous. And when you walk into the Boys and Girls Club space, you're going to see the sky is the limit quote. And that's a quote from Kiana Sky Frierson, and from her Youth of the Year speech. So a little nod to her, but also just to every kid who walks in. The sky is truly the limit. So I'm thrilled to be here today to celebrate the opening of this amazing facility. For me, this is both professionally and personally an awesome moment. Next month, I'm going to celebrate my 25th year at the Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco, 20 years as the president of the Boys and Girls Club. And I say that only because 25 years ago, I walked into the old Sunnydale Club and said, damn, we need to rebuild this place. And it took us a while, right? But we finally got here. And when you walk through this whole facility, I think you're going to be amazed. The club is just, it's uplifting. I mean, Doug said it earlier. You walk through and you feel like you matter. You feel like, and you know if you were a little kid who was 8 years old and you walk through and all the light and you can just see all the different spaces all the way through, you know that you matter, you know that people care. And my favorite part of this, and Shimon mentioned this, is the outdoors. Like the back of the Boys and Girls Club, it connects to the outdoors. Wu Yi Space has this beautiful outdoor playground. And for years out here in Sunnydale, like, you know, there was a park right next door, but it was closed off to the whole community. There was a double cyclone fence. You made it as difficult as possible for kids to kind of get to the other side and to access the basketball courts and the fields and stuff. And now with Mercy's design, it's just, it flows. It opens right up so kids have this amazing access to the outdoors. For 33 years now, the Boys and Girls Club has been in this community. We've served kids with passion and purpose. But we did so in an old facility that was not nearly enough for kids. It was too small, it was too old, it was too isolated, it was too clumsy, and it was too uninspiring. But it was all we could get, and we could not and would not walk away from the kids and the families in this community. But our ambition to serve kids in Sunnydale was always much greater than that. We knew the kids of this community deserved more and they needed more. At Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco, our core belief is that kids will achieve extraordinary things when they have skilled and caring staff, outcomes-driven programs, in first-rate facilities, and an environment that promotes respect, responsibility, and fun. We have 4 main outcome areas of Boys and Girls Club: academic success, healthy lifestyles, job readiness with earning potential, and good character and community engagement. I want to recognize and thank a bunch of people. So I know we're at the end, but I feel like I need to do this anyway. Mercy Housing, all the staff, really want to recognize the heart and the soul, the passion that went in. Doug, I want to say a particular thanks to you. I know you're now, you won't, I'm not going to say retired. You're pursuing other opportunities, but your tenacity and your heart showed up all the time in all the many, many meetings that we had, all the many, many fundraising asks. So thank you for what you did for the residents, the kids, the families of this community. Bill Whitty, the same I say for you. I said this earlier, but Bill and Related wrote a big check, but Bill was also like constantly on the ground, on the phone. We did a lot of this through COVID, a lot of mask wearing out here, a lot of Zoom calls and everything else. And Bill, you were a part of all of it, and my hat goes off to you. I want to thank all the Boys and Girls Club staff. People have worked out here and have moved on from the Boys and Girls Club, but they gave their heart and their soul to the kids of this community. I also, though, want to recognize the staff that's here now: Spencer and Schwartzen, Dee Dee, Nikki, Patty, Lucia, Stephen, Jermisha, and Hannah. Thank you for your hard work in this community. A huge thank you to my senior team, who do an amazing job serving kids across this city: Maxine, Heidi, Harold, Jamin, Carlton, Aaron, Hannah, Joni, Mary Kelly, and Megan. Thank you for the leadership you provide. You can't venture out on a major project like this without real leadership at the front end. For me, that support has always come from a small group of people who, even though I had a half-baked idea and it was written maybe on the back of an envelope, have said yes. And they said yes early. And saying yes early matters, right? That's the way projects get started, and projects don't get finished unless they get started. And there were philanthropists who stepped up early, and I want to recognize a few from my team: Rocky Freed, Jamie Ford, Drew McKnight, Brandon Bowes, Bob Emery. Early on said yes, and I really appreciate that. I also want to recognize this club, the Boys and Girls Club out here now is named the Springer Clubhouse in Sunnydale after a guy named Dan Springer. And I went to ask Dan for a gift, and I was going to ask him for a good amount of money, and Dan wound up giving 10 times that amount. And he said, I love what you guys are trying to do out in Sunnydale. And he wound up directing a good amount of that money towards this particular project, which I couldn't be more thankful for. So I also want to recognize Dan's son, Robert, who's the one who introduced Dan and you got the ball kind of going in that. So Robert introduced Dan to the Boys and Girls Club. So Robert, thank you. And Dan, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for having the courage to say yes to an idea that was still formulating. You were awesome for doing that. So my final couple of remarks. I hope and pray that people in the private and public sector stay committed to ensuring that great services happen within the gorgeous walls of this amazing building. Today is the start. Today is not the end. Today is the end of construction, but it's the start of what we need to do for kids and families in this community. So on behalf of everyone at Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco, particularly my staff, our Board of Governors, our Board of Trustees, we are extremely excited for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years of service out here in Sunnydale. So congratulations to everyone involved. Boys and Girls Clubs is thrilled to be a part of this.
Thanks very much, Rob. If I haven't said it myself already, I just want to say, I right back at you. You know, it was really, really, really hard to work on fundraising during COVID. People were out of town. Many people didn't know where Sunnydale was. We spent a lot of time with residents and champions from within this community trying to help people understand what was going on here. But the Boys and Girls Club staff in particular, I think, were always there. Harold, see in the back. Star when she was over at the Boys and Girls Club, just lots of people guiding people through and helping people understand what they were seeing, because most people don't have the eyes for what they were seeing. So, Rob, thank you for you and your team for everything out here. Before we go on, I also just want to have a chance to bring up San Francisco's public defender, Manu Raju, who would like to say a few words about the project.
Thank you. I'm Manoj Raju, your elected public defender. I'm going to keep this really brief. This is such a beautiful center here, and I want to thank everyone here in the entire community that made this happen. As San Francisco's public defender, I've seen how sometimes people in certain neighborhoods, in this neighborhood, can be labeled improperly. But a lot of times that comes from not knowing people. And I want to really shout out a lot of the people here who've been doing this work for a long time. We got Drew, Larry, Jacques, and others. And I think when we know communities and see the full promise and potential of communities, we know, and we saw right here, that, you know, the sky's the limit. So I'm just so appreciative of the work here. As your public defender, I'm committed to continue to serve the community in ways where we're not looking for people just to survive. We're looking for opportunities for people to thrive. And I think this new project represents that. So thank you and congratulations. It's a beautiful day today.
Thank you. All right, we're at the end. So we're gonna, you know, we've been working on the project for over 20 years, so there's a lot of people to thank. So I know we're cold, so I'm gonna go really fast. So Doug is gonna start with the project team.
Okay. I am going to start with the project team, yes. He's not here today, but we'll thank Daniel Hernandez, who was the original project manager of this from Proyecto. The great folks at Lady Made him Stacy. I see Greg in the back. I want to acknowledge, you know, Ian, Corey, Sarah, and the late Marsha Madem, who started off this project together. Happy to see our friends from Equity Community Builders right next door, Suzanne, Corinne, and Gracia. Our wonderful general contractors from Swinnerton. I saw some of them here earlier. Shervy, Mia, Maggie, Sean, Jared, Joe, Joyce, Renisha, who left apparently. I can see in my notes if I just read ahead. Yeah, it's just the way it works, you know, with me. I'm going to just free associate out here for a second. Our great friends from Gubbin Barchet, Sarah, who started this project, and Evan Gross, not just great attorneys for us, but also great donors to this project. They really believe in what we're doing. Our friends at Hollins Consulting Construction Managers, Victor and Jacob. This broader effort, as you know, we've got a large team working on this. I think I mentioned earlier our friends at Related To and Ann and Carlos and Murray, the great team over at Mercy. We've got Ramey, who started this, Elizabeth, Claire, Lay, Tariq, Shannon, Ed. We're lucky enough to have in the background, hiding over here, David Fernandez, who was one of the early leaders out here on behalf of our team. David, thank you for coming in to celebrate this, and so many of the other folks over here in the background. Before I hand it over, I just want to say a couple words. Like as some of you know, I stepped down a couple weeks ago from Mercy, but one of the reasons why you feel comfortable stepping down from a job you really love is when you know you're handing it over to people that care and could do as much, if not more than me. So I'm not talking about you. Yeah. I know you thought it was about you. No, and it is about you. So, there are lots of people in the world who have contributed to this, but what made me feel so good about being able to step down at this particular moment in time is knowing that Ashley Hurst was stepping up. And so I hope you'll get a chance to see what we see, which is what an incredible leader and dynamic person she's going to be, and breathe life into this building.
Thank you. I wrote all of his notes, which he did not read. That was not in his notes, but thank you. Doug, you're not done, so you have to come back in a minute. But I do want to take a special moment to thank the Mercy Community Life team. Star is walking away. But this is Star Clark. She is literally the star of the show always. Star is the associate director of the Hub, and she is in charge of curating all the programs and events here, and also leads a resident advisory committee. So we're so thankful for her, as well as Jock Wilson in the back, our youth justice. Where did he go? He disappeared. They call him, anyways. Oh, Jock, that's what he does. Jock Wilson, Juan, Aman, Elizabeth, James, Jay Williams, who helps us with our IT, as well as the rest of the Community Life team. It's an honor to work with you in the community. And I also want to take a special shout out. If you go into the Hub, there's an amazing artwork by amazing artists. And so we want to thank all the amazing artists who made one-of-a-kind art for the community, as well as Tommy from Civic Design Studio, which is here somewhere. He was our consultant that helped make this art possible. And I do want to take a special shout out to all of our CBO partners. The Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco, Wu Yi, Dragon Spunk, SCDC, Visitation Valley Strong Families, Greater Life Church in Reverend Brunswick, Bay Area Gators Cheerleading, Department of Public Health, Urban YMCA, Dance Mission, Women's Audio Mission, 18 Reasons Cooking, Faces, Baby YMCA, SF Jazz, The Phoenix Project, and First Exposure. So as I mentioned, those are the people that are activating the space and bringing amazing programs and resources to the community, so we are so grateful. And lastly, I just want to extend a heartfelt gratitude to the residents and community advocates of Sunnydale, whose collective vision for change in their neighborhood has paved a way for this project. The Hub exists because of the countless voices who spoke up, dreamed big, and worked together to make this space where all can thrive. We're immensely grateful. So with that, we're going to get ready to cut the ribbon. So we're excited. So as folks are getting ready to cut the ribbon, I do want to just share some instructions for the rest of the group. We do ask that you be a little bit patient as we're doing a photo op. But then after that, the Hub is open to the community. There will be catering in the Golden Gate room. You're able to buy Hub merchandise, and you're also able to stop by our partners tables to learn a bit more, to see how you can get involved. There'll be live jazz provided by SF Jazz in the living room, and then we'll do tours at 12:15 of the space. So we're going to get ready for the ribbon cutting. I also want to do a shout out to Eric Armstead's mom, Krista Armstead. Eric Armstead gave to Sunnydale for so many years, so I just love Eric Armstead, and thank you, Krista, for being here, as well as Marcella. So thank you. All right, so we're going to cut the ribbon, and then we'll open the doors. All right, so speakers, please go behind the ribbon. The youth speaker is actually going to cut the ribbon for us.
go see it.